Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit DyingDollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's DyingDollar.com.
This episode is brought to you by Starbucks.
That is fire.
Whoa, that's good. This might be the drink of the summer.
Okay, I like this one too. I'm rocking with it. Okay.
Try it for yourself. Starbucks Refreshers concentrates are coming home. Find them in the coffee aisle and make it yours.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Greg Kelly Show.
All right. Hello. A couple of things. The space station up there might have a leak. The astronauts are going to go home real fast. Did you know we had astronauts up there? Arrogant GOP senators, now that they think Trump is going, boy, oh boy, they're flexing their muscle, but they're very puny and their muscles are undeveloped. RFK, did you know he had a niece who worked in the CIA? No kidding. And she's like totally spooked by what the CIA is doing. She's quitting. And this Planter character up in Maine, I sense that there's a real con job going on from the New York Times. It is a very convoluted, nothing is as it seems with this Planter guy and the coverage all around it. They're trying to vaporize him. He's vaporizable. I don't like him. You run as a Nazi, I think that's kind of a deal breaker. But there's another chapter to all this that's very, very disturbing to regular people, I think. Hey, the Knicks, too. The Knicks. All right, there's a lot of excitement about the Knicks. Our local sports fanatic, Flippin'. Hello, James. I understand you're really, really, really excited, aren't you?
Yeah,
huh?
Yeah. I think that's fair to put it that way.
So is President Trump, by the way. Listen to this. Cut one, if you don't mind. Cut one.
Well, I've been a Knicks fan for a long time, and I'm also a Jim Dolan fan. He's a nice guy, okay? He's been a long time wanting to win, and he's a competitive guy, and he's got a team that's amazing. You know, I don't think they've lost a playoff game. And I'm happy for Jim, because Jim has really been fighting hard to, produce such a team. So you never know. The answer is yes, he's invited me. I'm going.
He's going to a game.
At least one. He might go to game 4 as well.
I personally could care less. I'm just not into it. And and more so after I saw these mopes from both teams just slouching during the national anthem. Cut 2, if you don't mind. Cut 2. The camera's going down and showing the players chewing gum, blowing bubbles, scratching themselves, sniffing, heads down. Two guys with their hands on their hearts out of 16 in this one little clip. Get on your ass, get off your asses and get on your feet. Especially, she did a good job. Victor, the only one with an excuse is that Victor Wembanyama.
Why? Because he's French?
Yeah, because when he does an interview, he sounds like this. Cut 3, please. Cut 3.
Bah, je le devine, bien sûr, et je le ressens un peu en souvenir de moi il y a quelques années.
Eh ouais, quand vous étiez là,
oui.
le Chennai, Nanterre, on a vu, c'était chez vous, hein?
C'est ça, donc c'était important pour moi de faire un retour, de retourner là-bas et d'essayer de marquer un peu la jeunesse si possible.
I agree with him totally. He has no obligation. He has an obligation to stand up for his own national anthem. I mean, he could cut us a little respect, but I am upset with the Americans. I want nothing to do with these bastards. Nothing. And they, you know what? The one guy, the one least played Nick, I've been reading about him all week, Jalen Brunson.
We've been hearing about him for a lot longer than a week.
Well, I just found out. Okay. $100 million contract, and that's a bargain. They got him at like a steal with $100 million.
What's your objection to that?
I think it's sick.
Why?
I think our society is totally whacked. And I'll tell you something else. You go to those things, or you come into work, or you walk down the street and you wear a New York Knicks shirt, right? And what if you wore something about Jesus? Jesus saves. Like, you're a Jesus freak.
You can do that.
You're a Jesus freak. Our society elevates. You know what it is, quite frankly? I think it's a sin. Icon. You're worshiping the wrong things. There's a worship going on here.
It's not a worship thing. It's a camaraderie.
Tell that to all this crap. All the posters and the worship and the paraphernalia. And
I think it's great. I think New York City's coming together, and it's a lot of camaraderie. It's a lot of spirit. It's a lot of people nodding to each other, smiling at each other on the street, enjoying what's going on. It's the one team that everybody in New York basically gets behind, except for like 10 Nets fans.
So what do we do for the past 24 years when they weren't winning anything?
We didn't have that bond.
I know, we didn't have that. We didn't smile at each other. We didn't give each other knowing glances. We only bond behind a billionaire's plaything, a sports franchise.
I think sports is a thing that can bring people together when it's at its best.
Just like the bread and circuses, they used to call it. The Romans had this thing.
Right.
Let them play. Let them play while we steal from them. No, I think it's a very, very bad thing. I can't stand it. I'm over it. And then just that. Cut, where the hell was this thing again? The national anthem, please. Hit that thing again. Cut 2. I mean, I'm going to stand up right now. I'm going to stand up right now when I hear this. And I'm going to put my hand on my heart.
Oh, say does that star
Shut up, James.
spangled banner yet wave?
Show respect. I know you want to sit down.
Oh, I'm standing. You're like crouched.
Those guys, I mean, that would turn you off from the sport. And it wasn't just the sperms. It was the Knicks, too. They were doing it as well, gaffing it off.
Standing at attention as
They
much as
don't
you'd
like America, and I'll tell you why. And quite frankly, yeah, there's a pretty heavy racial component to this. There's a very heavy racial component to this. Listen to this. Cut 4, if you don't mind. Cut 4.
White people are very superior at their privilege and utilizing it.
All white people benefit from white privilege. White privilege filters in, well, it stems from white supremacy.
White women have taken an active role in the maintenance of white supremacy.
You know, it's just the hypocrisy and the white supremacy in America and in the world that would show us portraits of a pasty white Jesus.
To be white in so many ways is to be raised, to be functionally illiterate on the topic of race.
So this stuff, we've been bombarded with it for a very long time. And a lot of people were picking up what was being put down. You know, just like I don't totally blame Victor Wembanyama for his insolence, I don't know if I can totally blame and put responsibility at the feet of the black players who were clearly not into the national anthem, disrespecting it, because they've been subjected to these lies. And so have a lot of white people, too. Here, listen to this. Cut 5. Where do people go after they hear stuff like this? Cut 5.
I am absolutely willing to say that Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. Brown Lives Matter. Absolutely.
We also put together a Center for Racial Equity and funded it with $100 million, which will help some.
We, the National Football League, believe Black Lives Matter.
This means taking action. 2 weeks ago, we announced Apple's racial equity
and all that crap. All that crap. Hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, by definition, there's something. And then, of course, the Democrats run around for years saying how racist this place is, how terrible. And they actually managed to break it in many respects. You look at that. That's unthinkable. Unthinkable. Just a few years ago. So, no, I'm disgusted by the whole thing. I want nothing to do with it.
But I don't think that's right. I mean, I think that there was a great soundbite from Karl Anthony Towns after the game the other day.
Who the hell is that?
One of the Knicks' best players, who said that, and he's from New Jersey, by the way, that every time they take the court and wear that jersey, they feel like they're representing the city of New York, and that it's tough to make it here, that's a challenge in and of itself, but that it's a special experience. I thought it was a great cut. And he was explaining the sense of pride they have in being members of the Knicks.
So this is the thing, though. It's curious that the one time these guys say anything like common sense and decent, it's news. It's news.
Well, I don't know if it's
no. I mean, it gets picked up and it gets trend. Like, look at this person who's saying reasonable things. Isn't that nice? No. It's. I mean, that's like
nice
that's the default. Like, this is it, the lowest, like, that's it? No, that's special? No, that's kind of how you feel if we're going to have a society, if we're going to have a country. And now that's special. And oh, by the way, atypical. It's outlandish. He is not in sync with the boys on that team.
I think they're very in sync, and that's one of the nice things that we've seen during this playoff run.
When's the last time you hung out with any of these guys?
Oh, I've never met any of them.
I don't recommend it either. I don't. They're always getting in trouble.
Can I make a request on the outside chance, or maybe it's not an outside chance, if you get invited to the game with President Trump, can you pass off the invitation?
Oh, no, I'll totally go. I mean, have you ever been to one of these luxury boxes?
Not his luxury box.
It's
that's
totally
for sure.
luxury. Well, it's like food that you never even knew existed. It's like the most amazing stuff. Yeah.
So that bread and circus part of it, you're okay with that?
Well, I'll be hungry. It's at night. I mean, why not? But no. I mean, in the event, Look, I've been to a game or two.
But it's great to see. Look, you have in front of you right now a blue pen and an orange. And it's because you're showing your Knicks support right now. I know it's subtle and I know it's subconscious, but you are, in fact, getting behind. Everybody in New York's getting behind the Knicks.
You want to hear something else that I found out? Listen to this. Jill Biden, right? Remember, I've been on this thing for a long time. Jill Biden, wife of Joe, and crazy lady. She's talking about her book here. She has a big chip on her shoulder. She's a malcontent.
I noticed that you talking about that yesterday is really good stuff, where she said she needed more support or something like that. And it's what more support do you need?
Right. And here she is telling us, like, 7 years later, about some argument she had with her own staff, and she won, right? Now, she's allegedly a teacher, right? And then she wants to go, by the way, I mean, she doesn't seem like a very good teacher. She doesn't. But listen to this. Cut 9, please. Cut 9.
They suggested that I was underestimating how hard it would be to throw state dinners. But hey, maybe volunteering could be an option. Had I thought about volunteering? Eleanor Roosevelt volunteered. Why didn't I look to Eleanor Roosevelt as a role model? At first, even Joe wasn't sure I could pull off a full teaching schedule given my responsibilities as First Lady. Usually I sought compromise, but this was not one of those times. Teaching was non-negotiable for me. When they were done making their case, I said, listen, I'm going to keep teaching at Nova, so I'm afraid you'll just have to figure it out. Eventually, my working outside of the White House came to be seen as a badge of honor for the administration. The official word became that everyone supported the idea all along.
But they didn't. You heard? She had to argue. And wow, and that's how the chapter ends.
Wow, that's very bitter.
She's got a chip on her shoulder about everything. Now this is good. This is good. She says out loud what I've known for a long time, but it's fascinating to me that she's introducing it to her audience. A couple of things. She's on a book tour right now, right? She goes on all the shows, Today Show, Morning Joe, the 92Y, all that stuff where the fake news, they celebrate these books, they get them sold, they push it. Not one person is asking about her ex-husband who's in jail right now, falsely accused of murder, in my opinion. You know that, James.
The Bill Stevenson?
Yeah.
Right,
well,
I know
guess
you've been
what?
talking about it.
Well, guess what? She writes about him in the book.
Does she?
She does.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
I think it is interesting. And listen to this. She tells me what Bill told me years and years and years ago. A lot of people disputed. No, that's not true. You have no evidence. No, I actually did have the evidence, but let's see here. Listen to this. This is Jill Biden talking about, she always tells girls to save money so they should have their own money so they don't have to rely on some man. That's their big piece of advice. And poetry. Read poetry. It'll get you through hard times. I think that's very weak advice. Uh-oh. Shoot. I was just going to play this for you. It's going to blow your socks off. You want to wait until the end?
I can wait.
You want to wait till later? All right. Also, the space station is leaking precious air. We got to get our astronauts home. Be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I was in a situation yesterday, and we were doing a project, special project, not here, and not there, but just involved in a special project, and 5 of us were working on it. I got to tell you, every moment somebody wasn't like doing active work, they were looking at their phone. That had nothing to do with the work. Your mind can't do that. Your mind shouldn't do that. Be going from work to play to work to sex to work to buying things, work, celebrity worship, work, Knicks, work, sex, work, dating, work, food, all that crap. I mean, that's how these books are being published. That's how these it's a great example. The books are so flawed and weird. And everybody, it's just a great example because those books are collaborative efforts, right? And generally speaking, well, in the olden days, people would check the work and stuff like that. Nobody's checking anymore. You know what I mean? Or they check for 2 minutes. Oh, that looks fine. And then they're back to their sex, text, sext, buying something, watch a video.
So you're saying like kind of everything in life is like that now. It's just distracted.
I think it's everything. Everything is. And if you can avoid that, you'll be poised to just about everybody else because they are just sucking on this digital teat, is how I refer to it.
Yeah.
So here's the Jill Biden thing, okay? Talking about her husband. Hey, actually, you want to hear? This is Bill Stevenson on this show right here 3 years ago, telling me what the deal was. Cut Bill Stevenson, ex-husband of Jill, who right now is in jail, falsely accused, I believe, of killing his wife. Cut 11.
My problem is with Joe Biden. What he did was right before the divorce trial, he switches law firms to his old law firm, a gentleman named Melvin Monson. For 3 days, they bashed me. They bashed me in front of the IRS. They bashed me in front of the Department of Justice. And I said, what in the world and why is this happening? The bottom line is I won everything.
I won everything in the divorce. So, Bill, there's more to this. So, Bill finds out that she's having an affair with Jill. That Joe is having an affair with Jill. Divorce proceedings start. Bill realizes he's going to have to give up a lot. He's going to give up a lot of his. He's on his way to the court and finds out there's no deal. Back to the drawing board. Joe Biden convinced her to get a new lawyer and do the whole thing over again because you got more coming to you. Right? Now, the big thing that he had, was the Stone Balloon Bar. It was a cash cow, famous at the time.
I know it well. I've been there, and I worked next door to it for quite a while.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I went to University of Delaware, and I had a job right next to the Stone Balloon.
And it was a big place, right? Lots of people went?
Yeah. Right up until it shut down, and there's condos there now.
So Joe had it in his head, I'll get a piece of that. That'll be steady income. Passive income. And we know, based on a lot of other books and the statements that Joe has made over the years, that he's money obsessed, greedy son of a bitch, right? This was so listen to what Jill writes in her own book that just came out about the husband and about the divorce and about finances. Let's see here. Where's this thing? Go with cut 10, please. Cut 10.
When my first marriage ended in my mid-20s, I was thrown into a financial panic. I'd married at 18. I didn't have a career or even a college degree. My then husband owned a popular college bar that he held on to. I wound up with less than a quarter of what I imagined to be our shared money. I swore that I would never be in that vulnerable position again.
So she wound up with less than a quarter of what she thought she was going to get. So guess who? She's still stinging about that years later, right? That means that Joe Biden stinging about it years later, right? Put it in the book. Decades later, 55 years later, she's still bitching about a divorce settlement. That she didn't get a piece of a stupid bar. So is that far-fetched that Joe Biden had this guy thrown in jail in 1982 for late payment of $8,000? And not only that, it was 8 days late. 8 days late, the feds swoop in, and arrest my friend Bill Stevenson because he's $8,000 in arrears, but it's only 8 days late. I got the documents. I know it. April 8th, he's arrested. The taxes were due March 31st. Only in a backwards, little, puny, stupid state like Delaware, where you got a corrupt nobody like Joe Biden, who suddenly is somebody, could that happen. It's amazing. It's amazing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, and basically you've been stonewalled when you've tried to get the information tied to the allegations, right?
Well, I got some people working on it, and they're making some progress. You know what I mean? But yeah, we've been given the runaround. And also, by the way, we shouldn't even have to ask for this stuff.
I mean, he's got a right to face his accuser and all that. I mean, how they can't hold him forever? Do we know anything about the case itself?
Hey, let me tell you something. Are you an organ donor?
Yes.
I'm taking my name off that organ donor thing. I'm taking it off the driver's license.
Why?
Well, apparently there's a lot of money to be made in organ donation. And how do I put this? Some hospitals out there want the people dead because they're worth more dead than alive.
Yikes.
And there's an impetus, right? Okay, call it. Yep, dead duck. Let's harvest those organs. It's a major source of revenue for some hospitals around the country. I don't want to name names right now, but there's a little girl at Texas Children's Hospital. They're trying to end her life big time. And she's got a shot at life. And I can't believe, wow, oh my goodness gracious, kids who get sick. It's really tough, right? It's very, very tough. Yeah. Hey, John Bolton is going to jail. Isn't that great?
It is, yeah.
And this guy, absolutely, here he is, going around town, trashing Trump to anybody who will listen. Cut 6, please. Cut 6.
I don't think he's fit for office. I don't think he has the competence to carry out the job. I think Trump would like to be a big guy, but I don't think he's smart enough to be a dictator. I don't think he appreciated the sensitivity of this information. And I think the historical verdict on Trump will be devastating.
Why?
It's rare to see one person being so destructive. He has committed very serious crimes. This is a devastating indictment. It should be the end of Donald Trump's political career.
Well, why was he so desperate? Why was he saying all that stuff? Because he knew that they knew that he had illegally kept classified information, secret information for himself, that he emailed it to himself so he could write a book. And now he's about to plead guilty to illegally retaining classified information, and he's going to have to pay a $2 million fine, and he's just busted. He's busted. The only problem is there should be more people going down.
That's for sure.
And it ain't happening. The swamp does not want to be drained.
Yeah, Brennan, Clapper. Could talk about a few others.
Strzok, Page, Comey, Christopher Wray. I find myself thinking more and more about him. I also find myself thinking a lot about these weak Republican rhinos on Capitol Hill, especially John Thune, Tom Tillis, Lisa Murkowski, and others. Cut 8, please. Cut 8.
The bill has passed. War Powers Resolution passing 215 to 208, adopted now in the Republican-led House of Representatives, thanks to not a jailbreak, but a handful of Republicans who did vote in favor of this measure. It was the fourth attempt, realizing a symbolic one, with a live view there of the House floor as lawmakers get beyond war powers in the House of Representatives.
War powers. You know what the war powers thing is? So there has to be a declaration of war within 60 days of a conflict starting. Otherwise, Congress can cut the funding. Now, that's totally unconstitutional. It's never actually been utilized. We had a 20-year war in Afghanistan, never declared a war. We had an 8-year war in Iraq, never declared a war. And now we've been at this thing for 60-plus days. I think there have been 35 days of actual shooting. That's it. 35 days of actual bombing. And the Republicans are coming forward, voting for this thing. It's treacherous. It's traitorous. You can't do that when we're at the negotiating table, trying to tie the hands of the President of the United States. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you people? It's Trump derangement syndrome. It's also they're lusting for when he's gone. And you know what the big bottom line is for me? No term limits for presidents, because he becomes a lame duck way too early. They want to write him off as a lame duck, and they can, there's a case to be made that his influence is waning. I think they're wrong. They're going to find out in a big, beautiful way. But, Why is it that you can spend 50 years in the Congress, 50 years as a senator or in the House, 70 years as a Supreme Court justice, and only 8 years as a president?
I would tend to argue that it'd be better to have the term limits for members of Congress than to expand the limits on the president.
Now, you know what? I think that's easy. What's the word? Myopic. It's myopic, James.
Why is it myopic?
Well, because it may feel good and you may think you're fixing a problem by getting the lawmakers out, but what will happen is the enhanced power of the unelected, of the bureaucrats, of the deep state, of the people who don't get term limited, who can spend decades and decades and decades.
Well, I mean, they have that power now.
What do you mean they have that power now?
The unelected bureaucrats, the nameless, faceless judges, the administration officials deep down the line.
But their power will be enhanced if the turnover in Congress, which is already actually pretty significant, more significant than you realize. 2/3 of the Congress has gotten there in the past 8 years.
Yeah, I think it's more appropriate for the Senate, really. Maybe a 3-term limit or something like that.
I think that now there's a lot of. I'm talking when I say Congress, I'm including House and Senate. There's more turnover than people believe, and also, so if you turn them over even faster, there will be even more power vested with these bureaucrats who already think they're better than democracy and better than the elected people. They may not be great, they may not be very smart even, but they were elected, and that's what we got. And we have a little bit of accountability with them. We have no accountability with that deep state. The men and women of the state, the men and women.
That's why they have to cut the amount of money that's spent from the federal government. No question about it. At DOJ.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Got any other observations?
I'll be back.
I haven't heard DOJ in a long time. DOJ.
Yeah,
Department of Government
Efficiency. They just had a executive order. What was that, yesterday? That's aimed at treating those employees like members of the private sector.
Hey, do me a favor. Listen to this. Now, I heard about this yesterday, but I wasn't sure if it was finalized. New York votes to replace the term mother with gestating parent in parts of state law. Now, has that thing been passed? Because the last time I looked at it, it was in draft form. They were just drafting.
It's a good question. I wanted to look into it myself because, I don't know if that was something that passed the Assembly, but not the Senate, and it might be going to Governor Hochul's desk. I'm not sure. I got to check on that.
Sometimes we can be knee-jerk. You know what I mean? It's something outrageous was just happened, and I want to make sure it happened before I get outraged.
Yep.
And I also want to see, hey, is some smart person with a conscience going to fix this before I need to get mad? All right?
That's prudent.
All right.
That's appropriate.
But if I need to get mad, I'll be mad.
I believe you.
Thank you, James. Be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, here we are. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222 on this glorious Friday in June. What is today's date? It's June 5th. You know what this takes me back to? When I was going to officer candidate school in the United States Marine Corps. It was on this date in 1990 that I shipped off for my second session of officer candidate school. To this day, I still have dreams. Officer candidate school is like boot camp for Marine officers. And it's very, very difficult, physically, incredibly arduous, tough. And then you know what else they had, which I still have nightmares about. The whole thing, to be honest. In my dream, I show up and I'm totally out of shape and I'm not ready. And I packed wrong. I packed incorrectly. I don't have any of the right stuff. And it's a recurring nightmare, comes back all the time. The other thing about that is, I'm very grateful to the Marine Corps, to the country, really, for the opportunity to have served. People say, thank you for your service. I say, thank you. Thank you. I had a very good time. It was a fascinating time. And I also learned a lot about myself. Once they put me down, I thought I was going to get kicked out of the place. There was a cheating scandal while I was there. There was an absolute cheating scandal, and a lot of guys got kicked out, and it's brutal. Oh, I know what they have down there. Peer evals. So imagine this. You are with a bunch of colleagues, right? You know, you're working on a project, whatever, and you got these colleagues, your peers. They're the same rank as you. You all work together. We're used to being evaluated in our careers at some point by a boss, right? Sometimes it'll be formal, sometimes it'll be informal, but, you know, he has the right, she has seniority, position, whatever, to sit down and talk about your strengths and or weaknesses. So that's fine. That's accepted. How about this? They tell every one of your peers to write a review of everybody else, and then you're supposed to rank the top people and the bottom people. And I remember hearing this. There were 60 guys in my platoon, and everybody had to rank who they thought were the top 5 and the bottom 5. And I thought when I first heard about this, well, that's going to be very obvious, right? You know, 60 guys, the good guys will emerge, and then the bad guys will emerge. Doesn't work that way. Everybody, even in that little schematic, gets evaluated. Everybody thought somebody was the worst or the best. And it could be pretty brutal sitting down listening to what people think of you. I once heard a wise man say, I think his name was Wayne Dyer, who was a self-help guru who I used to really like a lot. I listened to his tapes. I found him very interesting, very kind. He said, your opinion of me is none of my business. That's very interesting. It's a very interesting way to look at things, you know? It's people get really hung up on what others think about them. I'll also remember Joel Osteen. He once said, look, no matter what, you walk up. I read once that 30% of the people are just not going to like you no matter what you do. No matter what you say, they're just not going to like you. And then he said something else that had a profound impact on me. He said, I realized at one point in life, my job wasn't to straighten everybody else out. Well, let me straighten you out about something. Oh, I just saw something. I'm going to go straighten that guy out. Jackie Gleason. Now let me straighten you out about something. There always has been, and there will be a boss in this house, and that boss is me. No, you don't have to do that in your regular life. You can let things go. You can let things slide. It's just not that important. So, I don't know. I just, those little helpful tidbits. And I remember actually coming back to current events, John Bolton. There are people I know, you know, sometimes you're surrounded by people you think are really terrible, and they're not terrible. Maybe you're the terrible, right? Just cut people some slack. And it was somebody I knew was like, I love President Trump, but why does he make these mistakes? Why does he say what he says? And why would he even appoint somebody like John Bolton to a job like National Security Advisor? Well, there was a reason. There was a reason to have that weird walrus mustache guy standing there in the corner while he was talking to world leaders. He was on Joe Rogan, and he explained exactly why you want to have John Bolton, who is a guy who loves war. Loves war. Never fought in a war, never joined the military, but man, was he thinking that the military could solve any problem. No weapons of mass destruction, North Korea. This guy was always talking about military action. Listen to this. Cut 7, if you don't mind. Cut 7.
He was good in a certain way. He's a nut job. And every time I had to deal with a country, when they saw this whack job standing behind me, they said, oh, man, Trump's going to go to war with us. He was with Bush when they went stupidly into the Middle East.
Yes, he sure was. Interesting how that never comes up. Never comes up. Oops, invaded the wrong country. Yikes. Sorry about that. Nope, don't even have to apologize for it anymore. All the Bush family have to be is anti-Trump, and they're welcome back in to society. Anybody know the actor James Handy, Handy? I know him. He's in one of my favorite movies, The Verdict. So he was stabbed to death by his girlfriend's son. That's the allegation, in Los Angeles. He had a girlfriend. He's 81 years old. And the girlfriend, by the way, I think you just say a friend or a companion. Girlfriend is like straight out of middle school, right? When you are of a certain age, i.e. 18 or up, don't say girlfriend, don't say boyfriend. Say my friend or whatever. It just sounds so juvenile. Marry her, for crying out loud. Anyway, James Handy was a very good actor. I remember him from The Verdict, and he's been in a million other things. Stabbed to death, it looks like on his front lawn, by this maniac. and he's been in a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. Does anybody remember the verdict with Paul Newman and the attorney and the girl who was a vegetable? And the girl has a sister and a brother-in-law, and they're alive, and they're suing the hospital, and Paul Newman is their attorney. And Paul Newman screws the case up at first, initially, and then James Handy plays the guy. He's very upset with Paul Newman. Go ahead with that, if you don't mind.
$33. Can you believe that? Put it on a tab. The one from the other night? Yeah.
Jack Warden, Paul
In the
Newman.
office tomorrow. We're
Here we
doing
go.
fine. Hey, Galvin.
That's him.
You said that you were going to call me up. You didn't call me up. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are, huh?
Punched him.
They tell me I can have you to spot. I am going to have your ticket. Do you know what you did? I said, do you know what you did?
Okay, take it easy. Okay, okay.
Stop. Just so what he did was the hospital offered him $200,000 and he turned it down. Now, James Handy, as good as he is, does a little bit of overacting here. Just a little bit. But what a horrible situation. James Handy. Really liked that performance. Very, very much. Let's see what else we can find out. There's the music. Be right back. 800-848-9222.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Almonte's Key Food, proudly serving communities throughout Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island for over 30 years. When you shop Key Food, you'll always find fresh products, great weekly specials, and exceptional personalized service. Visit at any of their Key Food stores at 8235 153rd Avenue, Lindenwood, New York, 935 Rosedale Road, Valley Stream, New York, and 6620 Avenue U, Brooklyn, New York.